Well, friends, it's something of a misty morning here in Lisburn. And whenever the mist clears, of course, you can see things a lot more clearly. And just behind me here, the sun is trying to break through, but still very, very misty. And you just can't see too far ahead. And sometimes in life, we have circumstances like that. There's a fog, there's a mist, and we maybe just can't see things as clearly as we could or should at other times. There are times in life whenever providence is hard to read. There are times whenever it's hard to see exactly what's going on or where we are. Sometimes it's difficult to see light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe you find yourself in a situation like that today. Misty, cloudy and foggy circumstances. And you just wonder, will this fog ever lift? And it seems that the way ahead is so uncertain and you can't really trace the hand of God in your circumstances. Warren Wiersbe used to say, God can always be trusted, even if he cannot be traced. We can trust God even whenever we cannot trace him. But the reality is that life on this earth, in the spiritual sense, really is an experience of mist and shadows. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, we have the great chapter of love or charity. And it's a wonderful chapter. It's often read at weddings, but it's a chapter that God's people could really spend a lot of time studying and benefiting from. And towards the end of 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse number 12, we have these words. For now we see through a glass darkly. Now we see through a glass darkly. But then face to face, now shall I know in part, but then shall I know even as I also am known. And that's speaking of a day whenever our knowledge of the Saviour will be full and complete and perfect. Then shall I know even as I also am known. The Lord has perfect knowledge of us, and there's coming a day whenever we will understand fully the leading and the guidance and the providence and the plans and purposes of God that we didn't understand down here. And so it is with our Saviour. Now we see through a glass darkly, like frosted glass. You sometimes see the images behind it, but you can't really get the full picture. If somebody's standing behind frosted glass, you're just not maybe sure exactly who it is. You can't make out their features clearly. So it is if you see somebody in the fog or in the mist. It's difficult sometimes to recognize who it is until they get closer. And in this world, there's a lot of mist, a lot of cloud, a lot of darkness as well. And as we think about our Saviour and as we think about heaven and home, now we see through a glass darkly. But dear friends, it'll be daybreak soon. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. The familiar words of Peter whenever the Lord was washing the feet of his disciples. Do you remember Peter asked the question, dost thou wash my feet? And the Saviour said to him, what I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. He was only seeing through a glass darkly. There was mist, there was fog, there were clouds there, things that he wasn't sure of in his own mind, in his own heart, and his own circumstances. But a day would come whenever he would understand fully what the Lord was doing. And it's lovely to know that there's a day coming whenever we will understand the Lord's ways and we will see our Saviour face to face, without fog, without mist, and without clouds. Friends, God bless you in this incoming week. Thank you for listening, and we trust that God will encourage each and every one of you. Days of darkness still come over us. There are cloudy days, misty days, foggy days, cold days in the Christian life. You can see my breath here. It's cold here in the morning. But may God bless you and lead you on with himself. Thanks so much for joining us.